Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 28 of Tour of Japan, the review series of course for Gran Turismo 6's current lineup of JGTC cars. And in this episode we're featuring a GT500 machine. It's another one of the Supra Super GT models. And this model, from what I've seen, is, like some other Super GT cars, slightly more rarely used by most people. People for the most part seem to stick to the same few choices. People tend to go for premium models when they can, which is understandable, and people tend to go for cars that they see other people using. So if one person uses a car and they see it's good, they think, I might as well do the same. There's very little variation from what I've seen in the JGTC cars that people try to use. They go for the obvious choices, the yellow hat cars, the Calsonics, the Pennzoils. People don't seem to go much for the teams like Loctite, or for this one, the Cerumo Supra or Cerumo Supra, etc. Now, I'm sure there are people who do drive these vehicles. I myself do, so I know I'm not the only one. I'm sure there are those of you guys who have these cars and love using them. But for people in general, it's kind of a shame for them that they don't really broaden their horizons when it comes to Super GT cars, because there are so many good ones. They're not all the same. They do have their own unique attributes, and this car certainly does. To the point where I'd have to say this is possibly my favourite Supra of this series so far. It's the 2001 Team AU Cerumo or Cerumo Supra. Pretty striking paint job. It stands out from the crowd. There's no other vehicle in the game which uses this particular team that I'm aware of. It has a very, as I said, eye-catching colour scheme. The orange and greyish silver. It's powered by one of the smaller engines utilised in the Supra models, a 2-litre, but it has very strong specs. It produces 829 horsepower and a very impressive 731 pound-feet of torque. It also weighs on the lower end of the GT500 spectrum at 1100 kilos, which is good. Now, the power-to-weight ratio is not quite as high as some of the other Supras or some of the other Super GTs in general, but it's certainly no slouch. It's still 754 horsepower per tonne, which is a lot by any means. And the PP, I would say, is actually one of the best things about this car. It sits at a surprisingly low 648, which, when you think about its spec, is shockingly low, really. Most of the Super GT cars of this calibre sit at least 650. Most of them in the high 650s, sometimes even into the 660 region. So to have an under 650 PP car with that much spec is very good. It means that within the Super GT class, this car is almost a sleeper in terms of how much spec it has for its respective PP class. And that also, as I've mentioned in some of my episodes before, gives the car a unique advantage. It allows more spec into a lower PP. So this could potentially be a very good choice if you're looking to have as fast a car as possible in as low a PP as possible. So that's something to bear in mind about this particular Supra, especially if you're a fan of the Supra in general and you're looking for a strong all-round version of it. Another great thing is the price. Alongside almost all of the older generation Super GT cars, this is a 750 grand machine. So yeah, expensive compared to a road car, but that significantly undercuts some of the premium models and also some of the non-premium newer GT500 cars such as the GTRs, the NSXs, or even some of the other Supras like the Team Yellow Hat version, which is the best part of 200 grand more than this car, not even including tuning. So it's a pretty good deal all round. It's a car which people for the most part don't seem to really appreciate. Perhaps it's the colour scheme, I don't know. It's priced very well. It has a very impressive spec both for its engine and for its PP level, and it can be down-tuned very effectively if you need it to do so. And as I said, I would say this is probably my favourite Supra of the Tour of Japan series so far, and the reason why I like it so much is for a couple of reasons, really. I already mentioned a couple, but another reason is I love the look. I just think it's got a great paint scheme. Obviously, that's just a personal thing, though. But another reason why I like it so much, one of the main reasons, is the way it handles. You would probably assume that many of the Supras handle in a very similar way, and for the most part, many of them do. They're not exactly the same, but they are similar. This car, though, feels significantly different to any of the other Supras that we've driven so far. It feels much more playful, much more tail-happy, I would say, but in a good way. It feels very light on its feet, almost like, say, a 1,000 kilo car instead of an 1,100 kilo car, and that's a great attribute to have. And in fact, around this, the Tsukuba circuit, it's faster than many of the other cars I've featured on this track in the series so far. Around a 46 or 47 second lap. So, not quicker by miles and miles, but quicker nonetheless. So if you're looking for a strong all-round alternative to the mainstream models, this is a good one. So that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.